Is anyone else annoyed that we didn't get to see Narsus's paintings? That bugs the crap out of me. In this week's episode of the heroic legend of Arslan, otherwise known as Arslan Senki, Darian and Arslan find a brand new ally in the form of Narsus, the world-weary strategist and painter. What I really love about this character, and what I really love about this episode, is how good the characterization was. We really got to know this guy a lot, and I think he's going to be one of the standout characters from this series. What I will say is I loved his whole backstory about how he freed all of the slaves, and that is a story element that is going to be very important for the heroic legend of Arslan. I feel that's going to be a staple, and one of the things that's going to make the actual character of Arslan very important in the future. He's going to be the one who's responsible to free all the slaves. He's basically the Abraham Lincoln of this anime series. But Abraham Lincoln was way more badass. Dude kills vampires. Not to mention he can travel through time. And in that new 3DS game, he's fighting aliens with the power of steam. Someone needs to make an Abraham Lincoln anime series now. Getting back on track, Narsus's title is taken away from him, and he is expelled from the kingdom, and he now lives as a hermit in the mountains with his good friend Elam, who is not only a great archer, but apparently a pretty good cook. Now, the thing about Narsus that's really funny, and I think his name is incredibly clever because he is in many ways kind of a narcissist. He really is full of himself. His name is Narsus after all, so it's a really nice allusion to that. But he's also an avid painter as well, and we never really get to see his paintings throughout the episode. They hint that they're either really awful or very shocking in some manner, and I really can't wait to see why that is. The coolest thing about Narsus himself is not only is he a great swordsman, but he's very tricky, and he's also a great strategist. Not only does he have a trap door in his cabin, which would make Jabba the Hutt blush, not only that, but by himself he managed to systematically destroy this three-kingdom alliance through trickery, just by throwing in rumors in the grapevine. He's a really interesting character. I think he's going to be a lot of fun, and he really complements Darian and Arslan as well. And something that I really noticed while watching this episode as well is that Darian and Arslan make a really great duo because they sort of like are the opposite extremes of each other. I especially love the way they actually reacted to Varys's death in this week's episode, where you have Darian who's reacting with anger, and then you have Arslan who's reacting with sadness. They really do complement each other in that sense. And that was another element of this episode. I mentioned the trapdoor. Carlin's goons decide to try and find them, and they're trying to recruit Narsus, but actually they're just trying to kill him. So they trap them in this trapdoor that has this pit filled with water, and eventually they will be able to climb out. And that leads to what is quite possibly the funniest scene of the entire series, where the soldiers are standing on each other's shoulders, trying to climb up out of this hole, and while they're having lunch, Narsus picks up this empty plate, tosses it at one of their heads, and they end up just falling right back in. I wonder if they ever made it out of there. We're just gonna have to watch the next episode and find out. The best thing, though, is that throughout the whole course of the episode, Darian and Arslan are trying to convince Narsus to come over to their side so that they can rebuild and save the kingdom. Narsus isn't going to go over to their side easily. That is until Arslan makes him the ultimate offer. He says that if he does join them and helps them out, he's not going to restore his title, he's not going to give him money, he's going to make him the kingdom's court painter. This immediately is genius. It really shows that these two characters have really connected and they really do understand each other at this moment. Arslan really knows how to get Narsus to come over to his side, and I love the fact that Narsus even sort of agrees with this. He realizes that he's hitting him at his core, and this is what he truly wants. And it just makes me want to see his paintings all the more. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of the heroic legend of Arslan? This was a very nice introduction to the character of Narsus. I'm really liking the characters in this show. They're very strong and very well written, and they really have some interesting pathos going for them. One of the things that was really cool about this episode is how they're sort of like expanding on how like the slavery in this world is actually such a problem, and how it's like one of the major sources of all of the wars which are going on through these multiple kingdoms, and of course all of the corruption as well. And Arslan is probably going to be the one who is going to end up changing that, although they could have gone in this like really stereotypical direction where like immediately he was all like, I'm going to save all the slaves and everything, but Arslan is still sticking to his actual personality. He's still a little timid, he's still a little weak, he still doesn't quite know where he's going, but little by little you can see how the character is growing. He's not a powerhouse type character. That's what Darian is there for. But Arslan himself does manage to be very charismatic, and that's how he's able to bring Narsus over to his side. There's also the character of Elam as well, who I imagine will eventually warm up to the rest of the team. There's still a lot more about that character that we don't know quite yet. They hint at the fact that his parents were slaves, but they were all freed, and that's probably why he's so fond of Narsus as well. So Narsus has sort of just been roped into this, mostly because Darian planned it so all the other Carlin soldiers would follow him. I thought that was pretty funny. But still, this was just a really nice episode right here, introducing some great new characters and adding a lot of rich atmosphere to the show, which I think is really good. I still want to see Narcissus paintings, but really, that's all I have to say about this one. I just thought this was a very nice character introduction, and I really enjoyed it, and you should definitely check it out if you've been following the rest of the series. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys. Pretty good episode. If you did watch this week's episode, please tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. What did you think of the character of Narsus? What do you want to see from the rest of this character from the rest of the show? And what do you hope to see from the rest of the heroic legend of Arslan? Please tell me in the comments section. Thank you guys for watching my review. Before you guys leave, make sure to hit that like button, share it with all your friends, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see all of our latest manga and anime reviews. You can also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.